This is Shelley Kraft coming to you live on SNNLive. We're at the LB Micro 9th Annual Main Event in Bel Air, California. I have with me Tom LaVoy of IsoRay Medical. It's a publicly traded stock on the NYSE, and the symbol is ISR. Tom, welcome to SNNLive.
Thank you. I appreciate being here.
It's good to have you. Let's get started with an overview of the company, and we'll go from there.
Okay, IsoRay is a company that manufactures a proprietary isotope called cesium-131. Cesium-131 was developed up in Richland, Washington by a group of scientists back in the late 1990s to address really more aggressive cancers. Prior to that time, iodine and palladium were in place treating prostate cancers, and when they started looking at other applications such as brain cancer and head and neck cancers, and again, other more aggressive cancers, the properties of those isotopes really didn't fulfill the needs of that cancer treatment. Too long a half-life, not enough energy, so the company developed that isotope and got it FDA cleared in 2003, and now has been developing multiple markets for this cancer treatment. But initially it was prostate because that's where the major market was. It had reimbursement already in place. The next stage of our development really was in institutional development of cancer treatment for brain and head and neck and other areas. So we've been working with a multitude of very large institutions to treat this cancer, and what we've been seeing over the last 5 or 6 years with this development is very good results, very good local control of these cancers. And again, cesium-131 is a brachytherapy radiation device that is really a very targeted, precise procedure that is placed at either time of surgery or instead of surgery. So in the brain cancer area, basically the current standard of care is you take out a tumor and then you wait 30 days, then you start treating it with radiation, and that takes 30 or 45 days, and they have reasonably good success, but there's a lot of radiation damage typically with those applications, because when you shoot radiation into the brain, you have a wide area that it's covering, versus a brachytherapy application where you put it right where you need it, and it only treats within millimeters of the area that you treat it, so it eliminates or reduces significantly radiation damage and necrosis of healthy tissue. So that's really the beauty of brachytherapy. It's extremely targeted, and the beauty of cesium is really the fact that we have this short half-life, and we can treat the cancer. 90% of our dose rate gets treated in about 33 days, versus the other isotopes that take up to 200 days for iodine and about 60 days or so with palladium, with a lot less energy. So
now, you laid a lot out there. Okay. So first of all, let me just ask you this question.
Okay.
Is it even more effective when a tumor, like a brain tumor, is inoperable? Are you able to get to that tumor where it doesn't make sense to operate?
Well, we've looked at applications in, as an example, pancreas. And there's a number of patients that really can't have an operation on their pancreas because the cancer growth is too large. So, we're looking at opportunities where you can come in and reduce the size of that tumor and get it to a position where it can be operable. So, yes, there's some applications there. But today, where we've been really in the institutional side of the business, where we've been focused, or they've allowed us to treat the cancers in recurrent, very salvage cases that are really difficult to treat. So a lot of times it's removal of the tumor, and then we go in and treat the surgical bed with our isotope.
Are you an option versus chemo, or what's the relationship between, let's say, for instance, your treatment and chemo?
Well, I think, typically radiation is done in combination with chemotherapy. So when people look at kind of a combination therapy of one, treat it with radiation, and two, treat it also with chemo. So, I think, again, our advantage is we give a much more targeted dose and a high dose right where you need it. So, again, in brain cancer, and in head and neck cancers, where you have a lot of critical structures that you really don't want to damage. I mean, it again is with with our properties of our isotope, it really is getting, again, a very effective high dose right where you need it. So we believe that it could move from these salvage recurrent cases to more of a first-line treatment. And again, institutions are really looking at it. And what we're seeing is in areas where they've reoccurred, we've seen in the brain, as an example, a 95% non-reoccurrence. So it's reoccurred. So they've had zero effectiveness in stopping that cancer. And we put our isotope right where you need it, right at the time of surgery, and we've seen very good local control. And that's also happened in the head and neck area, as well as reoccurring gynecological cancers, which again, the side effects and really the outcomes of these areas are not good, in most
Tom,
cases.
how is it delivered?
Well, it's delivered through, we basically manufacture a seed, okay, and the seed is a very small seed, like it's almost like a rice grain in size. In the prostate area, it's delivered through a system that's been developed over 20 years through a grid system and needles, okay, which basically drop the seeds exactly where they need them in the prostate. In lung, we have a mesh that gets applied. In the head and neck, also the mesh is used, and currently in the brain, we're working with a group at the Barrows Institute in Arizona, and they're actually developing a collagen-based product that you insert the cesium within this collagen-based product, and it actually just fills the cavity of the resected area and sticks to where it needs to stay, and then applies the radiation in 33 days, and it's over. It's a one and done procedure, which we believe is very good for the patient, because it has, a lot of times these patients are not doing well, and for them to have surgery, wait 30 days, and then go back for a 45-day regimen of radiation, it's not a very good quality of life for those patients. So we believe this improves the quality of life significantly for these types of.
What's the adoption rate so far?
Well, right now it's in the institutional side, and our brachytherapy for prostate cancer and outpatients are reimbursed. So right now in the prostate cancer, as an example, there's approximately 30,000 patients in the world, or in the United States, I'm sorry. And we currently have a very small market share because our cesium product came late into that process. So the prostate brachytherapy business was around for 15 years before we got involved. We've got a very small market share, but we believe our isotope has properties that are better than the other treatments because of the fast half-life.
So Tom, let's cover the FDA question of approval, et cetera, if you would.
Yes, the brachytherapy market's been around for a long time. So iodine, palladium have been in seed form for over 30 years. And when we brought cesium onto the field, basically we were able to use a 510K clearance process where we basically had similar seeds that we manufactured, and it was just a different radioisotope. So when we came in, it took a number of years to get it cleared, but it was cleared, again, a lot of it because of the predicate devices that were already in place.
What's your background?
My background is I'm a business guy. I've been involved in technology companies, involved in transportation companies, over 35 years of business experience, 10 or so of it in a public small company back in the 80s, and then recently I was involved in Super Shuttle and the transportation business, where we started that business up and grew it very substantially through a lot of acquisitions. So a very different type of background, but a lot of strategic management experience and growth of businesses in my background. So,
who's the science officer?
Our science officer is Bill Kavanaugh, and Bill is COO and CSO. Bill is a guy that was very involved in cancer research. He's had numerous publications in cancer research and a heavy focus in brachytherapy. He worked at the Seattle Prostate Institute back in the 90s when really the whole prostate industry took off. and all of that was, really development of the procedure and the process. And Seattle Prostate really put prostate cancer treatment with brachytherapy on the map. So Bill's had a lot of experience now, and again, over 20 plus years, extremely good resource for us.
Tom, let's get your website out there for our audience, if you would.
Yes, our website is IsoRay.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, Tom LaVoy, IsoRay Medical. It's a publicly traded stock on the New York Stock Exchange, and the symbol is ISR. I'm Shelley Kraft, this is SNNLive, and we're coming to you live from the LD Micro 9th Annual Main Event in Bel Air, California, 2016. Tom, let me thank you for coming on.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate being on.
Anytime.
Thank you.